So probably for me would be brands that are really digging deep into the loyalty side of things. I think brands that are really taking the time to segment down their data and segment down to like what customers have purchased and feeding them back offers or other products similar to that, I think is being really effective. Like brands, it's too easy for brands just to send blanket emails or blanket messaging. So for me, the brands that we're seeing that are taking time out to segment their data, to just spend a bit of time looking about past purchases, I think is being really valuable.
Do you think there's been a shift of people paying more attention to the relationships with their customers?
I think so. We had a conversation yesterday, didn't we? And I think it's too easy for brands just to worry about filling up the top of the funnel and it's falling out the bottom. So like it's a lot more cheaper and looking after customers that you've already won and already built that trust about your brand. Yeah, I think it's definitely we're seeing a shift in that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the ones that are doing it well are, personally, like I think some people don't, and I feel like we notice the difference as consumers when you see that you're not being treated in a personalised way. I think the ones that do it really well are taking that into consideration. And your first question about what do I see people doing well, I think also links to that, and it's like creative. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing is giving personalised creative, but then another thing is listening to like your overall audience base and reacting to that. So for example, one of our clients, we see that their organic social following really engage well with more natural kind of photos, more day in the life type content. So that then goes over to their advertising. They're actually spending a lot on kind of professional photos, and now they've sort of reined that back and gone more for the more kind of it looks more like user generated, but it is generated by them, so it's just a bit more natural. And I think that's come off of the back to listening to what the customers want, which I think goes back to the overall thing that we talk about, which is like just understanding what your customers are asking for.
Yeah, another one would be SMS. We're seeing a lot of retail customers testing it. And I think we put a blog post out the other day about it, and I put one out on LinkedIn about like the do's and the don'ts and what do people think about it. And I think for us, people that are using it tastefully are the ones that are getting the best results. And we sent some SMS out for one of our retail clients the other day, and we got purchases from it, direct purchases, but
what was really exciting for me was that not only was the overall like return from this particular text message campaign was like the ROI was like 10 to 1, which is very good. I think for any fashion brand, but in this brand it's particularly good as well. The secondary benefit of that was overall on-site visits like massively increased immediately after we'd sent that text message. So we saw the traffic from this SMS went up, but we also saw organic traffic, direct traffic go up as we'd sent this text. So the ROI of 10 to 1 that we said, that was direct from that text message. That doesn't even include people who have put their phone down and gone to their laptop and gone through organic, gone through direct. So we could see through the analytics data that like it had a major impact on website performance that day. So obviously you get the immediate impact of sending an SMS, and we can see that. The other impact that's harder to track is that kind of building loyalty. And like Rhys said, we're not doing everything like everyone is a sale, everyone is buy this. Sometimes it is look at this video of how we made our latest pair of shoes or whatever it might be. Obviously that's harder to track, but it's all about building that loyalty, building that customer engagement.
Have you seen a shift between brands focusing on acquisition and sort of generating great lifetime value? Have you seen a shift from one to the other, or people doing more?
I've seen a shift, yeah. I've seen a shift with the brands that we work with, because we talk about it a lot. Outside of that, I'm not sure. Like often we'll start having a conversation with someone and they haven't necessarily thought about in that way before. Somebody might come to us with a problem, which is we need to acquire new customers, and then our response is, okay, yeah, we can look at that, but let's also look at all your lapsed customers, because these are people that have engaged with you before. Why don't we tap into that? So it's hard, because for us, I think we try and force that change to think about loyalty more, think about re-engaging your old customers more, and I think we do good work because of that. Whether other people do that so much, I'm not actually sure, but
no.
I mean, I get a lot of emails from brands that I've purchased from before, and they're not necessarily taking my previous purchase history into consideration, or they're ignoring me for a year and then suddenly sending me the next Black Friday offer. So I think there's a lot of brands not doing it.
Yeah, the bigger brands that I follow and subscribe to all their marketing are just blanket messaging. That's what I see. But there's a running brand that I follow and love. Signed up, and I've got you on the newsletter now, and it's amazing. And like for first-time buyers, they send you a pack. So if you purchase the first running pair of trainers, they send you a running pack. The creative's nice, and it's just a bit more personable. Like whereas like the bigger guns that I follow, it's just blanketed, and a lot of the time, especially on the email side of things, it's just sales. It's like every day it's a sale, and sometimes that's great, but it gets boring, and I think it's just like a lazy way of communicating with your audience.
Especially with the higher value, like which a lot of retail brands are, the ones that rely on like advertising and not high street brands, are higher value. Like people need to be like tickled into it. They'll sign up for a newsletter because they're interested, but they're not able to spend £150 on a pair of trainers right then. They might be waiting, or they might be continuing to like decide whether they want to make that money, spend that money or not. So email is a way of continuing to keep someone excited. Like this brand that Rhys mentioned, they send you like what is the perfect shoe for you in your running style, and then it's like a few other bits of content, and then the third one is like, if you buy today you'll get a free backpack, or like, it's not an expensive product but like a running bag type thing. Really, really good ways of just making you like want to be part of that brand and want to buy it. And it's obviously after you paid for the time it takes someone to implement, and the CRM platform, email is free, so just a little bit of extra effort to like segment and give people kind of little tickles every now and then. Like it's going to be really valuable.
So let's flip to like acquisition side. One thing that we've seen a lot of people start really aggressively pushing into, and it's been around for a number of years now, but kind of Google Shopping. From a fashion retailer perspective, what's the state of that right now, Marcus? What's your kind of thoughts on it?
I think it's a very important place to be if you're a retail brand. I think search ads are receiving less of the share now. Like traffic does go towards the shopping ads, so if you're not there, you do really have to be. It's probably step one, but then a lot of people are now, so maybe that won't be useful for everyone. But it's once you get there, I think one important thing to consider is your actual feed. Like a lot of people is like you get it set up and then it's done and then it's just forgotten about. It's like set and done and then forgotten about. So I think continuing to optimize it is an important thing. Like people think about optimizing their keywords, optimizing their bids. Like optimizing your feed is a really important thing. Loads of people don't test product images, for example. How do you stand out? Somebody might search in for a jacket from a particular brand. There might be different retailers selling that same jacket. In which case it comes down to obviously the brand awareness of the shop that's selling it and price. But then the other thing that lots of people don't play with is the image. So like, can you test, maybe it's a product image of someone wearing it, or if it's on a white background or whatever it is. I think that's an important thing that people miss. Google are pushing it massively because it's a growing area for them. Like search is growing, but it's not growing at the rate it used to. So Google Shopping is where they are seeing growth, like, because you can now get Google Shopping ads on YouTube, on like the Google Discover feed, on different display placements. So Google as a business is seeing a lot of growth through that area of their business. So they're going to continue trying to push that as much as possible until there's not as much growth available anymore, which is where they've got to with search.
So top tips to finish, one tip each. So
natural.
Which what would be your biggest, what would be your number one tip across all channels for like a higher growth fashion brand?
So mine would be test SMS with your most loyal customers.
Good one. Mine, similar test as well. Really big on testing. I would say test. Well, actually not test. Look, download all your creative data and understand what has performed and what hasn't, and just get an understanding of what creative works. You might be doing that already, but we see a lot of the time there's a lot of assumptions about what creative works, or you're just using creative because it's what you've got available. So actually look at the data and see what works and what doesn't, and then use that to inform like a creative testing strategy for like paid social mostly.
Sweet. Thank you. Enjoy Fashion Week, chaps.
Yeah, we're off down there actually now. We've got a front row seat.
I was about to say I'm actually marching. What do you call it actually?
On the catwalk.
Catwalk.
Yeah.
Burberry want me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wave.